Hey, what's going on? You're listening to Indie Music Diaries with me, Lockee. It's a podcast where I have casual conversations with real musicians. And so excited to be sitting down today with Veronika Lawson, who is a musician from my area who I consider to be the busiest musician I know. She's well known for posting the monthly gig guides where she has a countless number of shows every single weekend. I don't know how she does it. And but we talk about that a lot in this episode in terms of how to sustain yourself as a music business, and especially when it comes to the when you're playing for weddings and corporate gigs, that sort of thing. So Veronika's really heavy into that sort of thing. So if you're interested in that sort of field, this episode's going to be great for you. And we also talk about sort of Twitch streaming and the future of music and what that looks like. Veronika is doing really, really well on Twitch at the moment, and it's a platform that's really doing well for a lot of musicians. And obviously, if you don't know, Twitch, a live streaming platform, initially started out as sort of a gaming platform for gamers to stream their gameplay, but it's becoming a really good platform for musicians. Especially, it's obviously been accelerated in our current climate, and musicians are looking for ways to connect with their audiences. And obviously, there's everyone's got live streaming now. Instagram Live, Facebook Live, it's everywhere, but Twitch is different in a way. We talk about in this episode how Veronika talks about how she's connected with people from all around the world and has gained fans that she wouldn't, any other way. And Twitch has a unique reach in that sort of way. So, after chatting to her about it, I was like really keen. I'm really keen to sort of get into the Twitch world now, and hopefully I can get some streams of my own going sooner rather than later. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy this episode. Of course, all of Veronika's stuff is linked down in the description, her link tree where you can find her Twitch streaming and all that. And in other news, the debut EP has been out for just over a month now, which is very exciting. My debut EP, Crush on You, you can stream it just about on every streaming platform available. And Roommate Sessions has kicked off. The Roommate Sessions, which is basically, so I live with my drummer, which is pretty great. And obviously being here in Greater Sydney, we are currently in lockdown. So we've put together this fun little video series of 60 second jams, and it's available on all of my social medias. Again, you can find my link tree in the description of this podcast, but I think you can head to YouTube if you want to catch the first one, which is out right now. A mix of little original jams, and there'll be some covers in there as well. And so it's pretty much just guitar and drums the whole way, and it's a lot of fun. So make sure to check out Roommate Sessions and stay subscribed if you want to keep catching those. But let's jump into the episode right now, guys. This is Veronika Lawson and Lockee on the Indie Music Diaries. Joining me for this episode of Indie Music Diaries is a musician from my area here on the Central Coast of New South Wales, Australia, who I've always seen in this sort of the local scene here, and has always been one of the prevalent sort of musicians, I think, in this area. Her name is Veronika Lawson. How's it going, Veronika?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm really, really good. Stoked to have you on the podcast. And you were someone that I've wanted to get on for a while because I was thinking about this before, because I have said this to a couple other artists. I actually said it to Nick Reed, who, of course, and I had on the podcast a couple
We love Nick.
Yeah, we love Nick. And I told him how he's one of the busiest musicians I know. You're up there with certainly in the top 5 busiest artists I know. So I'll let you explain sort of like what your story is and sort of what you do in music. Basically, like, who are you and sort of what's your role in music? What do you do?
Who am I? I don't know. I mostly do solo stuff. So it's mostly just me and my guitar. And in the last, I think, year and a half, I've started bringing like live looping, and like I've actually taken it out of the shot, but like my little Kai keyboard with my fat beats on it.
So good.
Playing pubs and clubs and like from the good ones to the worst ones. I'm trying to wean off the worst ones, but and then obviously doing like weddings and corporate stuff, which I'm trying to kind of head more towards at the moment. Obviously, COVID's taken a massive had a massive impact on that, which is the pain. But yeah, so I'm trying to move towards the wedding kind of side of it with the duo. So I have the duo with Ben and I, so Ben and V, the duo, which we're trying to kind of come up with packages where we do, DJ and MC, as well as the music side of things, to kind of expand so that, because like obviously all of us as musicians, like we want music to be our life, you know what I mean? Like it's really cool how we can kind of make money and support ourselves doing something that we love. And it just, I just dread the day where I have to go and do something else. So I'm like, I kind of want to keep in that industry as much as I possibly can. And that's pretty much it on that kind of, is that what you kind of asked?
That's great. It's great.
Until now.
And that's the thing, right? Because it seems like you're doing so much, and it's cool that you're doing such like a wide sort of variety of things, and especially as we get into sort of these COVID times, and we'll talk about this a bit later, but like getting into stuff like Twitch and sort of when it comes to the social media side of things, which again seems to be a thing that sort of you're getting really heavily into, which is cool.
Definitely.
So, but sort of, you know, rewinding back a bit in your life, has music always been something that has been a part of you and your life? And was there like ever a moment where you thought that maybe this could be, you know, this is
it,
and you could do this as like a job?
Yeah. Well, I've always done music like ever since I was really little, because my mum was a professional musician for like 40 years. She did 8 gigs a week. 8 gigs every 7, 8 gigs and 7 nights on like the circuit in Sydney and the Rocks and stuff. So I think she was playing pregnant with me up until 6 weeks of having me. So I was in there jamming out from the very beginning. I picked up guitar. I played piano from 4 till about 12. It wasn't really my jam. I kind of wanted to play guitar. I thought it was cool because at the time most girls kind of played piano and song, and I was like, well, I want to play guitar. Like it was like Taylor Swift, you know what I mean? Like that kind of indie kind of, when she was like back country back in those days. So from about 10, mum taught me some basic stuff, and then I never kind of thought it would be, I always wanted to be famous. I was always like wanted to be a pop star, right? And I've given up on that recently, but I think I actually remember the crucial moment where I went, this is what I want to do with my life. Before I'd even like, you know, kind of gotten to the level where I'm at now, there was a guy that came to my school when I was in primary school who used to go to the school, and he used to bring his guitar into school every day. And he came back when he was an adult and he played for the kids in school. And I have this vivid memory of him sitting up on the stage and going, that's what I want to do. I want to do what that guy's doing. So, and the years have gone on, and I waited until I'm 22 now. I had to wait until I turned 18, which I feel like a lot of the young artists on the coasts have to do now, because you can't play in those pubs and those kind of venues until you're a bit older. And then, when I hit 18, I was getting some gigs, but not really enough to kind of support myself. It wasn't really until I met Ben. Ben had all of these contacts. He was already so established in the industry that I guess it kind of became my full-time career. I have to call it a career now because I don't have another source of kind of income. So even though that feels really weird, but so I've been doing it full-time for the last almost five years now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy how far it comes. Like,
and it's cool from the outside perspective, seeing sort of how hard you work as well. And I want to bring up like one of the things, like, so of course, I think you know Jake as well, and we actually lived together.
Yes, I can't remember how Jake and I met. I was trying to think of it today because I knew you were going to ask me about that.
Yeah,
I just can't remember for the life of me.
Yeah, but I think with a lot of the muses on the coast, we sort of like just to know each other anyway. But oh man, what was my question? Completely. Oh yeah, that's right. But like, I remember like we used to talk about it heaps. It was you and also Ben. Like when you posted the gig guides, which was a really really cool thing. When like basically like every weekend or at the start of every month, you post the gig guide. And I remember like Jake and I just being like, dude, have you seen how many gigs Veronika Lawson's doing? She's doing like 100 gigs. Like one weekend she's doing like 20 gigs in a weekend or something. And I was like, dude, yeah, crazy. And like I used to do a lot of those sorts of gigs like a couple of years back, and I remember doing like 3 gigs in a weekend, and that would burn me out.
It wrecks you, yeah, it does, definitely.
How do you do it? Like how do you pull through to do so many gigs in a weekend? There's some days where I think you've done like 2-3 gigs in a day.
I don't know. I actually sometimes I don't know. Like, look, like with the gig guide thing, before I answer that question, I really wanted to bring this up. With like the heaps of gigs thing and the gig guide, I remember it was me, Nick, Howie, and Ben. Every month we would like compete with who had the most gigs, and we'd be there like counting, like, I beat you by 1, man, sucked in, you know. And then the following month, you know, they what was I gonna say? I can't even remember what you asked me now.
just about like the fact that you can do
how the stamina.
Like
that's
you
right.
have amazing stamina.
It was a lot better before my op last year, but like, look, 3-4 gigs a weekend was kind of like pretty chill for me. Monday was always the rest day, never did anything on Monday. The biggest kind of with stamina wise that would take a toll on you was Christmas time, where you'd have, I think not last year with COVID, the year before, I think I had 33 gigs in 31 days.
Jeez.
And I got to like maybe the 13th, 14th day in, and I just had severe flu symptoms, like not like, in like nasal, but like a chest cold. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Which is the worst, coughing, that kind of a thing. It really affects your vocals. Yeah. And the thing is at Christmas time, you just can't cancel. So I guess the thing that pushed me through was I hate letting people down. So I was like, I can't cancel. I can't do it, So I just rock up. Now you can't rock up sick, but before, you could rock up a bit under the weather.
Yeah. And it was amazing sort of seeing those and just thinking, because not only like do you have to have the stamina to do that, but like you've obviously like built up such like a base of contacts and you've become almost like famous on the Central Coast. I think you and Ben, for those that don't know, Ben Woodham, who's another musician. I'm hoping to get him on the podcast too, soon.
He'll be keen. We can change the lights over.
Right. But just the fact that you've sort of built up, like as you said, you've been doing this. Was it 5 years? You've sort of been doing this full time now. Is that right?
Yeah, it probably is 5 years now. 5 years in November, because that would have been when I turned 18. So
yeah. And getting to that stage of doing it full time, because actually that's, again, going back to Nick Reed, that's something that we talked about, sort of doing this thing full time, which for a lot of artists can be a struggle. What's your sort of advice, or your sort of your, I guess, thinking for artists that wanted to be doing this full time? What's your best advice for someone in that sort of position, that to think that the position you're in now, where you're doing all these shows and everything? Yeah, well, do you have any specific advice for sort of getting into the place you are and doing it full time?
I feel like it's hard because everything's relative to each person. But if I think about if someone came up to me and said, hey, look, can you help me to get more gigs? The first thing I would be getting that person to do is get themselves like a super high quality promotional video. Like that's the first step. Like go pay the money, pay $500, like you can get a good video for $500, do a little mashup and show yourself in the best possible way. And then just start sending it to everyone. Like these people like Fair Play Entertainment and then JC Entertainment and like the agencies, plus then you can book directly through venues. So even if you just start spamming, I don't know, Terrigal Pub, for example, you know what I mean? They get so many emails every day. Just send them an email once a week. You're a little person to them. Like they're not going to I guess notice you unless you annoy them and you bug them and you stand out. It doesn't really work walking into venues anymore and saying, hey, I'm a musician, I do this. Collaborating with people that already like doing duos is a massive thing that helped me get gigs. And same with a couple of my other friends, they'd come play with me and suddenly they'd go, oh, that's what happened with Ben and I played with Ben. They went, man, she's really good. Let's book her, like, can you do some more duos? And then Ben went, oh, she actually plays solo. And that was the thing that kind of, started me off. So yeah, I think the video thing's super important. The marketing, keeping your marketing, for me, this is really important for me, like keeping your marketing, your brand the same. So like I know you recently changed your performer name, I guess, do you know what I mean? But like when you choose to make that shift, like I changed my name at one point. I went from Veronika Lawson to V, and then someone had a discussion with me and said, look, you should really just keep that. Like I had too much going for Veronika Lawson to let it go and change to something else. So I guess kind of being like true to your brand. When you do get gigs, be reliable, rock up. Don't call in sick on the day when it's like your 4th or 5th gig, or there's been times when I really wanted to go to a party or I really wanted to do something, and it was the first time I'd ever worked through that agency or the first time I'd ever played at that venue. And you don't have that rapport with that person yet to be able to cancel even a couple of weeks out, because if you cancel, you'll never get work with them again. Yeah. It's that's the biggest thing. So I feel like, reliability is such a big deal in most industries, but especially in this. Because you let someone down once, then they're just, there's so much fresh, young, hot new talent, like everywhere, especially the Central Coast. Like, everybody's special, but there definitely is always someone that can come and cover the gig.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we're talking so much about gigs and performing live.
Yeah.
That isn't quite happening as much. It's sort of a little bit, throughout 2021, but unfortunately we're in lockdown again, and it's died down, hopefully back soon. But that sort of segues nicely into sort of the online world.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. I'm really intrigued by the whole thing. And specifically Twitch. Of course, you've recently gotten into the Twitch thing, and it's funny because like Twitch has sort of been, I mean, it's obviously been around for a while, but it seems like COVID has sort of accelerated its importance in the music
and popularity.
It's popularity, and there's so many artists now getting on there and doing their thing. And I'll just check before you've already got, what was it, 269 followers? Yeah, 269 followers already. And I think you only just recently started. Hey.
Yeah, I think I've done like 11 streams or something like that. 12, I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
Only a couple of weeks now.
And so what's your experience been with Twitch specifically? And also what are your sort of thoughts in terms of, shifting more online as a musician? Is that something that you want to keep doing? And do you think that's an integral part of being an artist, shifting to online?
That's definitely something I want to do. I've realized that I could sit in my office, get dressed from here up, and wear my pajamas on seriously, I have this joke going with all the people. Like, I have a few regular people from all over the world, like Texas and the Arctic of all places, that are tune into my streams regularly. And we have this joke about my Pokemon pajama pants.
Yeah.
I'm always just sitting there. You know what I mean? Like, who doesn't want to be able to do that from home all the time? So there's these people that, professional streamers. And I just feel like, even if I could drop back, I've sat down and I've calculated the numbers, how many subscribers I would have to cut back by 1 gig a week. If talking financially, do you know what I mean? And there are definitely pubs and places that I don't want to play at because it's just not rewarding. People don't care, or it's kind of those kind of dodgy venues, you get harassed. I don't want to play those places, where you just don't feel like you're appreciated. So definitely with the online community, there's so much appreciation. There's so much love for what you do. I don't think I've ever felt so nice and good about my music since I've been streaming on Twitch. Wow. People are so I love everything about it, to be honest, especially the people, the community. Facebook platform is great, but Twitch is just on another kind of level itself. It's I don't know, there's too many things about it that I can't kind of go into that this I like about it.
The thing that seems most I think the thing that sort of sets Twitch apart, I mean I'm very new to the app, to the platform, and I mean I'm hopefully wanting to do some of my own stuff on it soon, but the community seems like the biggest thing, and you sort of touched on it there. I mean, the fact that you can connect with people from all over the world and they become fans of you, and they've never met you, have never seen you in person. It's crazy. And to think that something would have happened even 10 years ago, right? It's so cool, and I think it's so undervalued. I feel like there should be more musicians getting on Twitch and platforms like that, because it just adds a different, you're obviously doing so much already, sort of in the real world, I guess.
Yeah.
Or the shows that you're doing in pubs and bars, and then all the corporate stuff and the wedding stuff. It just adds a whole nother world, and you got such a wide reach. Hey,
it's massive.
It's one of those things where, as I said, I think every musician should be getting onto it, and it's so different compared to live streaming on something like Instagram or Facebook. Hey, because I know that you and Ben of course do your
with the
Thursday streams as well.
Yeah.
So do you feel, do you get what I mean in terms of where the streaming experience is sort of different on Twitch? You got that community there?
It's heaps better. The main thing that I think, I was going to say this before, but I was wondering if you're going to kind of go further into it. There's a thing on Twitch, it's called a moderator, right? So a moderator is someone that, and look, I'm only really new to this, but I just still think this is the best part about it because I'm super anti-bullying, okay? So on Twitch or we'll start with Facebook. Okay. So I've done live streams for venues, and I'm not going to name any names because it's just, I don't really have to, where I've had patrons, random people, as well as like friends and family kind of jump on and be really pushy with requests or just say something nasty. Do you know what I mean? And nobody kind of stands up for you in that kind of a community because it's so, keyboard warrior. That person's sitting at home and they're just, bored and they're typing away, or even just like our family and friends and stuff, they're sitting there and they're so excited to see you and stuff, but it's more about, I guess, what they're getting rather than the fact that you're enjoying it too. Whereas on Twitch, they're more like they're picking the stuff that, you haven't played in a while, or they're going, pick, like there's a platform you can make a request and they request Veronica's choice. Do you know what I mean? And the moderators, right? So somebody goes and comments something horrible, then these people can like ban that specific person or kind of say something to them. There's all this like community that stands behind you and who you are and what you're doing. And I just think that makes it stand way above the rest of the streaming platforms. Apart from all the cool things you can do, like emojis flying across the screen, but like just the people are amazing.
So good. Oh man, all these things he's saying about it makes me really, really keen to get into it. Just to
go do it. It's fun.
Oh, right. And the fact that you can sort of like make money out of it, like as you said, the fact that you're sort of aiming for that subscriber sort of count so that you could replace one of your gigs. Like again, that's the thing, right? And that's again why it's sort of, I was going to say it sort of sets it apart from Facebook and Instagram, but I have seen just recently at Instagram have introduced a thing where you can like send, I don't know what it is, but you can like donate or something like that.
Yeah, Facebook has stars now.
Yeah.
So you can send stars and they're a certain amount of money.
Yeah,
but I don't know how that works.
It seems to be like sort of Twitch is sort of leading the way when it comes to live streaming, and everyone's sort of trying to follow along.
Monetize as well.
Yeah. What I did want to ask as well in terms of gear and stuff, and I tuned into your Twitch live just the other day, and like the first thing you notice is like how good the quality is of everything, from audio to video, and you can sort of already tell. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's one of those. I'm sure SM7Bs, which of course.
Yes, it's so good. It's such a popular microphone for people on Twitch too. I feel like 9 out of 10 people have one. So
yes. What's your sort of thoughts in terms of gear? Because a lot of people probably, especially at sort of the grassroots level, which I guess a lot of the artists sort of that we have on the podcast are sort of at. What's your sort of thoughts on gear in terms of like if someone maybe wanted to get started on Twitch live streaming, how essential is gear for you? Do you think that's really, really important to have high quality gear, or do you think it's more important to just sort of get started and get out there?
See, now if I give my proper opinion on this, Ben will kill me. I feel like for me personally, because I'm a girl streaming on Twitch, I feel like what you look like and where you're positioned in a room is a lot more important than the quality of your camera. Okay, when you're talking about camera quality, like obviously as you get better, if you don't improve the quality of your camera, people are going to go, where are all my donations going? Do you know what I mean? Like with sound, I think as a musician streaming on Twitch, I feel like that is definitely important. But, you can just buy yourself an interface, plug it into that. Really, it's only, $200-$300 setup for something that will sound quite good. Like Nick streams with his phone. Okay.
Yeah.
And the quality of the phone might not be as good as this massive dinosaur camera that I've got, which is not even mine. If you ask me what it is, I don't even know what kind of camera it is. But the point is it doesn't really matter what Nick looks like, what that kind of like, look, iPhone's cameras are amazing now, but it's mattering what's going through the audio side of his. So I guess as a music streamer, audio equipment at a good high quality is pretty important. I'd rate it at. So. But we've all got that gear anyway. You know what I mean? It's just you buy the interface. Like I'm running mine through like a mixer straight into my computer. So, straight into the camera and then in through OBS. So we've already got all this stuff, the technology to do it. So.
And in terms of the learning curve on Twitch and picking up stuff like that, because I've sort of been a bit overwhelmed when like looking at YouTube tutorials and you have to get like OBS, like set up the streaming software and all that sort of stuff. Has it been much of a learning curve for you? Or as you mentioned, because you're already used to sort of dealing with mixers and microphones and stuff, has it sort of been natural to pick up?
If I'm honest, we've been doing Ben and B live streams since COVID started last year, and Ben did everything. Ben set up all he'd be like, "Hey, got to go set up for the stream now. 45 minutes later, it's good to go. I'm prepping dinner. I don't know what was going on. Just come and sing." And when I first started, the streaming recently, I said, okay, I want you to sit down and show me how to do everything. Just go step by step. I'm going to write it down. And then, every time I did a stream, I'd incorporate one more thing, having to remember to do it myself. Do you know what I mean? Until now I can just come into the room and I can set everything up myself. But at the beginning, like I had no idea, like things like, emotes and I've just gone from OBS to Streamlabs OBS. So with Streamlabs OBS, you have all sorts of different widgets and stuff. And I had no idea. I'm just fortunate. I have a lot of friends who are streamers and stuff that could help me, because some of those YouTube videos, like you said, they're so confusing. Like it just doesn't really necessarily give you the best kind of guide. There's a lot of really good, streaming for beginners.
Yeah.
You can watch those kind of videos. So I guess that's kind of the best place to start. I got a good grasp on it now, though.
Yeah,
I think
streaming for beginners is certainly the stage I'm in, that's for sure.
Yes.
Shifting back to sort of the real world, I guess.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about sort of, as you said, you're sort of wanting to shift more into the sort of the corporate stuff and the weddings. And weddings is a big thing, right? Because that seems to be sort of like one of the primary sort of, I guess, money makers for musicians. Shifting into that sort of world, because it's almost like I sort of did that briefly, sort of doing the weddings thing, and it can be really, really fun and really, really rewarding to be a part of someone's day. And I think you said something before about getting into I can't remember what it was. Did you say becoming a celebrant? Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So is that something that you're wanting to push more into, to sort of like start to lean more into that side of things?
Well, yeah, I literally just got my qualification back the other day. So I'm a celebrant now, which is really cool.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. I was actually going to start reaching out to people like you and Nick and that kind of a thing, and start putting packages together where, I'm the celebrant for someone's wedding. And then, I push the fact that a live musician is so much better than having it on an iPod. Do you know what I mean? You should pick out of these 5 people that I have available and, package it all together so you can kind of be more of a part of their day. Because a lot of people will go, we just want you for reception. And you go, okay, if you just want us for reception, do you have a celebrant? You know what I mean? Trying to keep yourself more in that area. And I just feel like it's such a positive environment to work in. Yeah. No one's ever having a bad day. Like if it rains, it sucks, but like everybody's there to celebrate love. Why wouldn't you want to work in that all the time?
True. So true. That's so good. And as I mentioned, it can be such a rewarding experience from the weddings that I've done as well. So yeah, I don't blame you for wanting to push into that sort of thing as well. Hey, it's been so great to chat, and I feel like we could keep going on and on about sort of all the things that you're doing. Was there anything else I wanted to ask? I don't think so, but like honestly, hearing like just seeing the stuff that you're doing and hearing you talking about it now, it just motivates me, like as a musician, to keep working on my craft, and from a business perspective as well, because not only have you sort of nailed your craft, but you're sort of nailing it business wise from what it seems as well. Have you got any sort of, I guess, final tips in terms of maybe that business side of things for musicians? I mean, because as I mentioned, for you seem to be doing really well, at least from the outside perspective. But for a lot of independent artists, it doesn't really come as naturally. What has sort of been some things that have worked successfully for you when it comes from a music business point of view?
I really think the first thing is kind of figuring out if you want to do music because you just are passionate about it and you just like to play, or if you want to make money out of music. Like I guess that's the biggest kind of thing, because a lot of my friends, they want to do original music, or then they want to do original music and covers, or they want to just do covers. Like that's so important to figure out at the beginning kind of what direction you want to go in. So I figured out, obviously, the musicians, like I guess I'm giving advice to people who want to break into the covers scene. The biggest thing, same thing, get yourself that really good quality video, keep everything the same, regular posts on Instagram, letting people know where you are, how to come and see you, and just being nice to everybody. That's probably my biggest tip, because it doesn't matter if you're emailing the CEO of Coca-Cola or some, 12-year-old kid comes up to you at a gig, or some 40-year-old sleazebag guy at a bogan pub. Do you know what I mean? Like every single person, you don't know who they are. You don't know what kind of an impact they're going to play later on in your life. Let's say, if someone ends up becoming the manager of somewhere, you know what I mean? You've just got to be nice to everyone. Got to spread the love,
Yeah.
Because if you're a bad person and you're not kind of approaching this in the, I guess that's that like business and the personal side of it really comes together, because those people that aren't approaching that in the right way, they're just going to get weaned out eventually. You know, the nice and talented people will rise, you know, to the top and then end up getting the most work. So I guess just be a good person and keep on top of the socials and keep on top of annoying places to book you.
That's it. I love it.
Yeah, it's easy. Just be a nice pest.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for jumping on the podcast today and bringing your insight to the audience. Before I let you go ahead and plug yourself. Where can people find you on the socials, on Twitch? Yeah, where are you at?
Okay, so it's Veronika Lawson on every single platform, and it's Veronika, Veronika with a K. It's you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, singing with my dog, Twitch. I don't have any original music out yet, but maybe all of this COVID lockdown stuff will get me some original music. Oh, and YouTube, obviously, got some singing stuff on there too.
So good, all over the place. And I'll make sure to have a bunch of those links down in the description wherever you're listening to this podcast, so you can go and find Veronika's stuff. Regularly streaming on Twitch at the moment, which is very exciting. Once again, Veronika Lawson, thank you so much for coming on the Indie Music Diaries podcast.
Thanks for having me.